Welcome to a special tech show here at Eurobike. We've been here all week finding the latest, the greatest, the special, and now we're going to find the weird and different. Let's go. I don't mind a little bit of oil slick on the odd part. Well, this must take the award for the most oil slick on everything. We've got almost every part, bar hubs, in an oil slick finish. It's going to stand out from the crowd. On the Rabina tyre stand, we've got a bike that really caught my eye. I mean, would it catch your eye? I know, pun. It's wooden. It's all wood. The pedals are wood. The grips are wood. Okay, the fork isn't wood, but the wheels are wood. I think it's brilliant. I'm sure it's a really good ride. Tremendous, you could say. Interesting forks here, possibly Kashima. They're definitely a dual crown, but interestingly, they are running a QR there. Not sure the damping properties. We've got really nice anodized adjusters, so probably pretty fun. Now, it's always interesting when a brand name, develops their own brand and where they get their inspiration from. I mean, yeah, I think it's like an inspired name. Doesn't remind me of any other brands at all. We often talk about wheels being machine-built or hand-built, and you might have wondered, where they're made. Well, in a wheel-building machine like the one behind me. So it's a completely automated system that can build a wheel from the hub and tie all the spokes in and late it up to the rim. It's real clever stuff. The process to build these wheels on these machines was so quick. I think in total it took about 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, versus, takes me to build a wheel at least 2 hours. I'm a bit slow, but these machines are fast. It's quite fun. The guy behind you is filming you, filming me. It's quite weird. Lots of really fun stuff in these halls. And yeah, Trinks, it's not a brand I've heard of, but this bike looks brilliant. It's got a kind of slide rail, multi-pivot assembly. Nice internal cable routing. We've got Owen's fork on here. Looks really well spec'd. And interesting, it's got a power meter, and it's not one that I've seen. It's a Sugi, but it looks really interesting. They've also got what appears to be a pro team. So yeah, I need to look out more for Trinks and their factory team. Interesting bike. This one's from Slider. We've got a triple crown suspension fork up front, some really burly fat tyres, some exceedingly fat rims. Looks single speed, but it is an e-bike. I think it might even have a throttle. I think it'd be quite fun, actually. You could put a really big frame bag in there and you could put some panning racks on the back. Could be a really fun bike for the pub or shopping or, electric bike packing. So many interesting things at this show. We've just stumbled across A-top. So they're a kind of ratchet buckle is the best description. That's similar to another 3-letter worded product that's out there on a lot of shoes. But A-top are used by some big players. So interesting. And they've got the shiniest shoes I've ever seen. We're here with Aviav. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And, okay, they're road wheels, but these are mind-blowing. Okay, the tech in them is really impressive. You've got carbon spokes, you've got dual ratchet hubs, really interesting rim profile, but this is real, mother of pearl. This is actual inlay. It's taken hours and hours to inlay this incredible artwork onto the rim, and it's because these are Korean wheels, so they wanted to kind of match the new technology that you will have from Korea, so ultra high tech, ultra high spec wheel, but with traditional artisan craftsmanship. So yeah, very, very eye-catching. Are you going to run them? I'm very particular about what gloves I wear, and yeah, finding the right size is key. Thankfully, my hands aren't that big. That's huge. Okay, interesting find here on the wheel top booth. We've got a wireless drivetrain. It shifts really, really nicely. So like many brands, wheel tops sell directly to the consumer. So they've got their own website and you can buy stuff through there. They've got a hub in Germany that will distribute throughout the world. This wireless shifter and rear mech come in at around 440 euros or US dollars, which seems to be a really interesting price point. It's good to know that there's more options out there for wireless shifters. Okay, this is on the Arietti stand. This is heated grips for your e-bike. Okay, we've had heated grips on mountain bikes before, struggling to remember which brands, but a while back. But this one is the first one that's dedicated for e-bikes, and to work with the head unit. So it only works with one head unit at the moment, but they've got big plans to work with lots of different manufacturers and lots of different bikes. And you might think, oh, heated grips, I don't need those. Well, having lived in Finland, having warm hands and being able to like brake and shift and use your dropper post when it's freezing cold, well, it's just a boon. And having to put huge, big, gauntlet-y gloves on, it's not a winner. So I'm really interested to see how this grows. One of the key aspects of this product is the fact that it's integrated into the e-bike. So it's not just plug into the battery, it's integrated into the head unit. And that means you can really easily and clearly change how hot they are, which is great because at the moment they're at 4 degrees, which feels quite tropical here, but they go all the way up to 60. And that's not a limitation of the technology, it's more that who would have thought, but there's an international standard where 60 is the hottest you can have a heated grip. I've got to say, 40 feels really lovely. Yeah, interesting to see where this goes. Some of the e-bikes here at the show are getting really burly. This is, well, like a mini motocross bike. It is really burly from this huge welded frame with carbon fibre in there. Yeah, I feel like Jonesy would love this beast. What are your thoughts? Some interesting things on the Polini stand. So they've done motors for a while. Jonesy's tested a couple, but I love this system integration here. The shock is sort of hidden in this seat tower. It's a step-through bike, but it's full suspension. So it's got the carbon gates drive and an Envolo rear hub. It's an automatic one. It's a CVT, so a constantly variable drivetrain. So opposed to having individual steps, it's more like a gradient. Clever hub. Interesting bike. No, so titanium frame builder we've got to look for.
Right, because they do prototyping.
Ah, so you're going to do prototyping in Thai. This is interesting.
Well, just to have something quickly like you like, that's what it is. You know, so.
Okay, very good.
I met some guys in Taipei show, and this is a different company.
Okay.
And I got a quote from the Taipei guys who was rather reasonable.
Interesting. Very good. Right, well, enjoy. Good luck.
Yes, searching.
There you go. The godfather of mountain biking also comes to shows like this. I mean, I've just been, graced by his presence. Genuinely. None of us would be here mountain biking. Not for that guy in the cowboy hat. Gary Fisher. Legend. Living legend. So big news outside of the halls of Eurobike is that Specialized have released a 15th version of their stunt jumper. It's got all the cool features that you'd expect. So mixed wheel size or 29er, full carbon frame, 145mm of travel. You can put it with a 150 or 160 fork, adjustable head angle, lots of options on reach, so 400 to 530. I mean, there's loads of details out there. It uses geometry flip chips to change so you can run the mixed wheel size or not. I think the bigger headline figures are the fact it runs a proprietary shock. So this is a shock that Fox and Specialized co-developed. It's called the Genie, and it uses it's kind of like 2 air pockets or air valves or air chambers even to create a more supportive ride. It's very different. Haven't seen something like that for a long while, but you can get one of the bikes with an Öhlins coil. The other big change to the bike is that it is wireless only. So, yeah, you can put a rear brake on it and a hose can go through, but there's no rear cable routing for a rear mech, which is a really interesting point. Do you think it means that there's going to be some other big players bringing out wireless group sets? Time will tell. Pricing for it starts at slightly steep $6,500 and runs to the eye-watering $12,000. Manitou have released a whole new suite of cross-country forks and shocks, and I guess the headline-grabbing part is the new fork, the new R8. It's a really nice fork. Rich has been running it already, so 34mm sanctions, but still super light. They've worked on all of the details. There's little cutaways to save weight where they can. The axle, for example, weighs only 25 grams. It's very impressive. Weight overall of the fork is 1,484 grams, which is really competitive, especially when you find out that the fork runs from 80mm all the way up to 120mm of travel. And because it's using the Dorado air spring, so that's how the Dorado air spring works versus one actually from the iconic downhill fork, it means you can change it with 10mm increments. So yeah, if you've got a hardtail that you want to run a 110 fork on or a 90, you can do with this. It's got a Pro X damper, and you can run it as a lockout lever on the top of the fork, or it's got its own dedicated lockout lever, which matches or can sync with the cross-country specific 80mm dropper that they're also doing. They've also got the rear shock, that's got a lockout too, and again, all of those levers can integrate really nicely. Interesting stuff. And the other exciting thing, I mean, it may be related to the stump jumper news, is that SRAM have released an S1000 series, so kind of like non-series group set of their T-type wireless. It's not going to be available to the general public, it's available to bike brands to buy, but it does mean that we're going to see this wonderful T-type transmission at a lower price point of bike at least. I mean, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a great idea to have more electronic group sets? Let us know in the comments. I'm going to head off and try and find some more amazing stuff here at Eurobike. Okay, we've seen a lot of the Camelback bike packing stuff before, but they've got a new bag. This is the Mule 9 side load. So, roll top side load bag for your bar bag. It's a really nice feature. Again, loads of details. You've got a front pocket here and this really unique bar clamp, which is a really nice system to set it away from any cables or stem clamps. Nice feature. It's not just saddles that SQ Lab have perfected either, it's grips. And they've updated one of their most popular models, the SOX. This is the new SOX Pro, and it's been focused on sort of downhill, gravity, park riding. So it's got a really nice soft compound and all the ergonomic features that the SQ grips are famous for. So D3O have been working to work their technology into a number of different products. They've got it in insoles, so currently not available aftermarket, but in a couple of different shoe brands, and that's to help with vibration damping. So the non-Newtonian properties of D3O mean that it can help dampen down all that energy that you can feel through your feet and actually through your hands. So they've worked with ODI to develop a custom compound that's got D3O inside it. It is available in different colours apart from this orange, but I'm quite partial to the orange. As an ex-race mechanic, you might imagine I'm quite picky when it comes to tool stands, especially ones that you've got to use in a field. And I am picky, because I've used some really rubbish ones in the past. I'll tell you what's not rubbish, this awesome new prep stand team issue. It's got loads of really good features. So a really quick release clamp, so you don't have to hold your e-bike or your heavy DH bike for ages. Super quick action, but you can tighten it up really, really well. It's also got this really wide base, so it means it's going to be super stable, even if you're on a kind of uneven ground. And the other thing that's really key is it's not going to flex and wobble because it's got this really big diameter, easy, quick release main post. So we're on the Crank Brothers booth and they've got a newer range of tools. It's called the SOS range and it splits into effectively like 3 different bits. You've got some stuff that amounts to tool cages and dedicated kind of straps for tubes, and then you've also got a bottle cage setup as well. So with both the cage strap or tool strap that you can bolt on and the bottle cage strap, they've all got a really clever, almost hidden tyre lever. This one's bolted underneath. It's a really solid interface, so you're not going to ping it off and lose it down the trail when you most need it, because it's going to be behind your bottle. So one thing that has been really cleverly thought out is how you use the multi-tool. So often you'll see multi-tools with chain tools, but they're really tiny chain tools, and often with kind of modern narrow-wide chains, they take a lot of force to pop open. But Crank Brothers have really thought about it. So the tie lever slots into the chain tool and allows you to have a lot more leverage over that chain. And it's modular too, so you can use the little chip to place the multi-tool in different places together, so you can reassemble it in different ways. And it just means that you can get more leverage. So you can use it as a sort of modified T handle or a regular sort of L handle. So it's nicely thought out. It's quiz time, and Anna asked a very challenging question. Which beautiful German city is Eurobike held? Yes, that's correct. Frankfurt. Winners are all on here. Obviously, it's pride points, nothing important. So, we've got a question related to one of the icons of the sport that we met today, and that is, what was Gary Fisher's first bike brand called? Let us know in the comments. Now we've got comments. We love reading your comments. We try and read them all, so do get in the comments and tell us what you think about stuff. We've got some great ones here from our Eurobike Day 2 footage. So Rob asks, where can I buy that amazing Park Tool t-shirt or shirt that Calvin wore? Very good question. My understanding at the moment is you're just given them. So very select special people who either work for Park or blessed by Park Tools can get one. So yeah, keep working away and maybe you'll be special enough to get one. Next is from Seema Dragon. That Superlight Scott was insane. So like, I agree. I've worked on, well, drop bar road bikes that are that light, and that had a proper functioning fork, proper big tubeless tyres, proper brakes. Really impressive build from Danger Home. More from him, I'm sure. Okay, This is related to some of the Manitou stuff. This is integral high-speed dub. And he says, I love the work party switch on the Manitou shock. Yeah, opposed to having kind of a lockout or kind of like more progression or weird stuff like that. Manitou keep it really fun, really simple. Work, uphill stuff, play, downhill. Love it. And yeah, final comment here from one of our favourites, Tim. He says, another fantastic video. Well, thank you, Tim. We couldn't do it without you and your comments. And he says he loves the click valve. So this is this new valve that Schwalbe have created. It's really interesting and quite innovative. We've got loads of details on it. And he knows it makes sense, but he'd like to see an adapter for the pump end and maybe a CO2 head. Well, Schwalbe have already done it. Yeah, they've got valve heads. They've got ones that it can adapt into, so you just plug and play, and they've got lots of hose options. I think when I was chatting to them, they said they'd got 10 different hoses for all the major brands, so you'd be able to switch it out. So it's a really clever system, and they've really thought about how it's going to work long term. What are your thoughts on it? Okay, that wraps up the end of our Eurobike Tech Show. I've absolutely loved being here. It's been fantastic, from Danger Home's builds to Nikolai bikes and seeing the rise of e-bikes more and more, and meeting the legend that is Gary Fisher, not once but twice. I mean, I'm not sure I'll be the same again. That's my favourites. What are your highlights? Keep commenting, tell us what bikes you like, tell us what tech you like, and we'll cover it in the next show.